Chapter 4, Source Number 3, Index Funds Investment. Investment opportunities are aplenty. Finding the correct investment plan is the order of the day. Investing in index funds could well be the magic moneymaker you were looking for. I am sure you are interested to learn more. In this chapter, I'll tell you everything you need to know about index funds and how it can be the key to your financial freedom. Warren Buffett, who is considered by many as the greatest investor in stock market history, once said, "Investors should know their limits." There's clear wisdom in this statement that relates to everyday life, and it's knowing that you may or may not be able to. As such, it's tied in with knowing your constraints with regard to explicit circumstances or circumstance. Ask yourself, would you fight a wild bear assuming you had a chance to do so? You would probably say, this is crazy because the bear is extraordinarily huge and wonderful and you are probably going to be killed. Okay, that's an outrageous model. Still, you get the picture. You understand that you cannot win by fighting a mountain bear. Indeed, in financial exchanges, sometimes it is equal, and indeed, there are individuals on Wall Street and Main Street who constantly fight the bears and the bulls with the unreliable equalizer. That equalizer, known as a file store, presents financial backers with the assets that they need to outperform their limits. Let's understand what an index fund is. An index fund is a kind of mutual fund or exchange-traded fund, ETF, with a portfolio constructed to equal or track the components of a financial market. Index, such as the Standard & Poor's 500 Index, S&P 500, an index mutual fund is said to deliver broad market exposure, low operating expenses, and low portfolio turnover. These funds follow their benchmark index regardless of the state of the markets. Why should you invest in index funds? First, index funds outperform the vast majority of actively managed funds. 2/3 of actively managed mutual funds fail to outperform their relevant index in a typical year, and more than 80%. Second, investing in inventory reserves provides ease and straightforwardness to a speculative portfolio. Personal financial components pay exceptional attention to their speculative portfolios right after the new monetary emergency. Leave some to exceptional experts and deal with their own cash. Others look to the point of detailed scrutiny and distrust their guide's actions. It is striving to make a meaningful contribution. However, it doesn't need to be complicated. For most investors, investing consistently in index funds is probably one of the wisest investment decisions they can make. When we consider the fact that index funds generally outperform the most effectively oversaw reserve types, while some effectively supervised assets will surpass their benchmark list in any given year, it is highly unusual for them to achieve that feat in years to come. At present, we must examine a portion of the benefits presented through the responsibility of funds. Index reserves are incredibly efficient, as they have exceptionally low turnover rates. The turnover rate is a level of assets of an asset that is traded or sold and supplied in a given year. Since file reserves are detached speculations, they bring about much lower costs to make do. Effectively, oversaw reserve charges a lot higher expenses that might be an after effect of exploration by the examiner. Exchange expenses, rewards, and various different charges or costs. which essentially are non-existent with record reserves. This means that a superior exhibition of list subsidizes when contrasted with the present or effectively oversaw funds. Different index funds. Income-based index funds. These type of assets depend on income potential and include their value-based or growth-based organizations. The models are Vanguard Growth Index Fund, VIGAX, VIGAX, and the Vanguard Value Index Fund, VIVIX, VIVX. Broad-based index funds. These assets aim to follow the performance of the entire market or a subset of the market. The models are the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, VTSMX, and the Vanguard Total Bond Market Index Funds, VBTLX. Real Estate Investment Trust Index Fund. This type of fund is designed to track the performance of a specific real estate investment trust. An example of this type of fund is the Vanguard Real Estate Index Fund, VGSIX. Term-based bond index fund. Provide fixed pay and financial backers with protection terms based on their desired holding period. Funds can be made up of bonds of short-term, intermediate, or long-term maturity. One example is the Vanguard Long-Term Bond Index Fund, VBLAX. Dividend-based focused index funds. These fund types are designed to provide dividend income. An example of this type of fund is the Vanguard High Dividend Yield Index Fund, VHYAX. Sector-specific index fund. This fund type is designed to track the performance of a specific sector. An example of this fund type is the Vanguard Consumer Discretionary Index Fund, VCDAX. International index funds. This fund type is designed to provide some outside exposure to stocks around the world. An example is the Vanguard FTSE All World ex-US Index Fund, VFWAX. Socially responsible index funds. These funds invest only in companies that are environmentally friendly, sustainable, or with a focus on positive social impact. An example of the Vanguard FTSE Social Index Fund, VFTSX. Commodity-based index fund. This type is designed to duplicate the performance of a specific commodity index through the buying and selling of futures. An example of the Vanguard Commodity Strategy Fund, VCMDX. Remember that I've listed here are just a few of the many different sectors of index funds that are available in the stock market. While most can be great wealth makers and can help add diversification to any portfolio, I've found that the best returns are usually the result of keeping things simple. When it comes to creating a powerful but simple index investing program, the index investing strategy mentioned earlier is my priority. How you can save money to invest. Most people who think they don't have the money they need to start investing usually actually are. The situation simply boils down to being smart with the income they currently earn. When we start investing situations, most of us have areas in which we are wasting cash. This wasted money can be used to take us toward a financially secure future. Here are some ideas to garner that extra cash to start your speculative program. 1. Invest when you get an increment. When you accept your next pay increase, don't start spending it. Start contributing to it reliably and proceed as if it were never received. 2. Take part in your employer's sponsored retirement program, the 401k, 403b, or SEP, Simplified Employment Pension Plan. By contributing only 5% of your gross compensation to your retirement plan, you are on your way to building real savings, and at the same time, you will reduce your available salary. In the blink of an eye, by any stretch of the imagination, you won't miss commitments and just adjust to living on somewhat less pay. Plus, your manager will typically match your level of commitments, which actually gives you free cash to contribute and become your asset. 3. Use your tax refund. Use your tax refund to invest. That extra cash could be put to good use. 4. Use your next bonus. Treat your next reward as you would your next increase in salary. Invest the bonus amount instead of spending it. 5. Consolidate debts that are high on interest. Consolidate exorbitant loans and change cards into solitary credit with low financial cost. Doing as such ought to get you free and clear financially speedier and set aside the cash in your revenue changes too. 6. Enhance your withholding allowances to get more money. If you wind up getting an enormous assessment discount consistently, you might be paying a lot in annual charges consistently. A greatly improved choice is having less cash kept for charges by expanding your saved portion remittances. Most staff divisions can ordinarily help a representative with sorting out the right measure of keeping tippins to convey. It's vital to figure the right portion of recompenses, since you would rather not be left with a major assessment bill when documenting your personal duty return. 7. Reduce the expenses incurred from prescription drugs. If you or your relatives are needed to consume professionally prescribed medications, consistently request generics assuming they are accessible, yet make certain to talk with your doctor first. Non-exclusive medications should meet similar severe government rules as name-brand medications and work similarly as well. 8. Buy a term life insurance. You need not bother with every one of the fancy odds and ends with regards to extra security. The primary motivations behind extra security are to supplant lost pay and to take care of obligations. With regard to esteem and reserve funds, a straight-term disaster protection strategy is difficult to beat. 9. Do not purchase credit life and disability insurance offered to you by the lending institutions. This kind of protection is proposed by people, by banks, and other monetary organizations when they apply for credit. It should take care of the advance, assuming that the borrower becomes impaired or passes on. This sort of protection isn't required, and the moneylenders can't put together their credit choices with respect to whether you want to buy it or not. It is basically one more way for monetary establishments to bring in cash, since they seldom need to pay claims on this kind of insurance. 10. Refrain from buying a vehicle every now and then. If no serious issues exist with your vehicle, get great use from it prior to focusing on another one, and in the installments that show up with it. Start paying money for everything. You will observe that when you pay cash for everything, you will be less disposed to spend your well-deserved cash or to squander it on things that you needn't bother with. Utilizing a few visas will keep you owing debtors until the end of time. Cut up all credit cards except one and use it only for true emergencies such as an auto repair bill or an insurance deductible. Investing a part of your savings is the order of the day. In this day and age, where information is at your fingertips, you don't need to think you should lose any opportunity to find your dream investment portfolio. Investing in index funds could be the game changer.